Perfection is a mask that only the empty can wear without it weighing them down. There are people who build their entire identity around the surface, dedicating every cell of their existence to polishing the facade until it shines with a blinding intensity. And behind that glow, there is nothing. It's not that there is darkness, which would at least be substance. It's absence, a void so complete that it sucks in everything human that approaches it and turns it into fuel to maintain the illusion. Patrick Bateman is not a fictional character, as much as he is a clinical mirror of a pathology that walks among us in an Armani suit and embossed business cards. He is the perfect crystallization of narcissism taken to its logical conclusion. A human being who has completely replaced their interiority with an external performance so polished that they can no longer distinguish between who they are and who they are pretending to be. Because in the end, when the pretense lasts long enough, the distinction collapses. The mask devours the face. Pathological narcissism is not common vanity. Vanity is superficial, but honest. It is inflated self-love, but recognizable. Narcissism is something much more architectural. It is the construction of a false self so elaborate, so meticulously maintained, that the real self atrophies to the point of disappearing. Bateman does not look in the mirror and see someone he admires. He looks in the mirror and checks that the construction remains intact, that no cracks have appeared in the facade. His morning routine is a maintenance ritual, not self-care. Skin products, facial exercises, perfectly selected background music, all are part of a life support system for a self that has no real biological substrate. It is pure representation. And the representation needs to be perfect because there is nothing behind it to back it up. If the mask falls, a vulnerable face does not appear. Emptiness does. This emptiness is the defining characteristic of the pathological narcissist. It's not that they lack emotions, it's that their emotions lack an internal object. A normal human being feels sadness about something, joy about something, anger towards something. Emotions are responses to a rich internal world where there are memories, values, emotional bonds. The narcissist feels, but their emotions float without anchorage. Bateman experiences anger when someone has a business card superior to his, feels something that could be called joy when he secures an impossible reservation at Dorsia, experiences panic when his appearance does not meet the standard. But none of these emotions are connected to something real. He is not angry because his ego was wounded. He is angry because the external hierarchy that gives meaning to his existence has been questioned. He is not happy about the reservation itself. He is relieved that his symbolic status has been confirmed. Do not be afraid of seeing bad. Be afraid that the entire structure will collapse if a single element fails. The absence of an internal world turns others into objects. This is not a metaphor, it is a clinical description. When Bateman interacts with other people, he is not engaging in a human exchange. He is executing a social protocol. He knows what to say, when to laugh, how to modulate his facial expression to give the illusion of interest or empathy. But it is pure computation. There is no emotional resonance. When he describes his murders in grotesque detail while maintaining banal conversations, he is not being ironic. He is demonstrating that for him, both activities carry the same emotional weight. None. Killing is as significant as choosing a restaurant, because neither human life nor culinary experience has intrinsic value for him. They only have performative value. Killing gives him a momentary feeling of absolute control, of power over something that ultimately responds predictably. The victims bleed, scream, die. It is one of the few interactions where Bateman receives genuine feedback from the world, even if that feedback is horror. But even violence quickly loses its impact. This is the trap of narcissism. Nothing can fill the void because the void is not an absence that can be filled. It is an absence of the capacity to be filled. Bateman needs increasingly extreme stimuli to feel something, anything. And when those stimuli do not provide lasting satisfaction, frustration builds up. The narcissist lives in a state of perpetual hunger, seeking external validation that can never be satisfied because satisfaction requires an internal self capable of receiving it. It is like pouring water into a bottomless container. The act of pouring can be executed perfectly, but there will never be accumulated water. The culture that produces Patrick Bateman is not accidental. The 80s on Wall Street, financial capitalism in its most stripped-down form of humanity, a system where human value is literally and completely reduced to numbers on a screen. Bateman is the perfect product of an ecosystem that rewards superficiality, punishes vulnerability, and treats empathy as an exploitable weakness. His narcissism is not a deviation from the values of his environment. It is the embodiment of those values. All the men around him are variations on the same theme, obsessed with status, with brands, with invisible hierarchies that determine who matters and who does not. Bateman simply took the logic to its conclusion. If human value is external and performative, if there is nothing sacred except the appearance of success, then there is no reason to maintain any internal moral restraint. Moral restrictions only matter if you believe there is something in you that is worth more than performance. And Bateman doesn't believe that because there is nothing in him except performance. What makes Bateman particularly disturbing is his lucidity. He is not a disorganized psychopath acting on impulse. He is methodical, controlled, perfectly functional in social terms. He understands the rules of social interaction better than most because he has studied them like a foreign language. He does not feel them intuitively. He has memorized them. And that memorization is so complete that he can go unnoticed. No one suspects because he executes normality with technical precision. This is the terrifying aspect of functional pathological narcissism. It can operate in society undetected for decades. It can have a successful career, superficial relationships that seem normal from the outside. It can be respected, even admired. Because modern society, especially in corporate and elite contexts, does not reward emotional depth. It rewards performance. And the narcissist is the best performer that exists. There is a scene where Bateman tries to confess his crimes. He says it directly, describes what he has done, and no one believes him. His lawyer thinks it's a bad joke. His colleagues think he is being ironic. This is the central paradox of his existence. He is so well integrated into his social role that even when he tries to break character, no one can see him. The mask has fused with his flesh so completely that removing it would require tearing off his very face. And Bateman discovers something worse than not being seen, that perhaps he has never been real. If he confesses to murders and no one reacts, if he can describe atrocities and be ignored, then maybe the atrocities weren't real either. Maybe nothing he does matters because he himself doesn't matter. He is not a person. He is a function within a system that would continue to operate exactly the same way if he disappeared. This crisis of existence is exclusive to the narcissist. The average person has a sense of internal continuity. They know they exist because there is an ego that experiences, remembers, and feels. But the narcissist, completely constructed around external reflections, does not have that certainty. Their existence depends on being seen, on being recognized. And when that recognition fails, when their performance does not generate the expected response, the entire reality becomes unstable. Bateman cannot be sure if he killed those people or if he imagined it, because both possibilities carry the same existential weight for him. His internal world does not differentiate between fantasy and action, because there is no internal world. There is only the narrative that is told to maintain the coherence of the construction. The narcissist lives in a state of practical solipsism. Other people exist only to the extent that they confirm or threaten his self-image. There is no genuine recognition of the other as a separate being with their own subjectivity. When Bateman interacts with women, he does not see people. He sees accessories, extensions of his status, objects that he temporarily possesses. His violence towards them is not personal. It is the logical expression of how he perceives them. If they are not human in his mind, if they are just decorative things that sometimes do not function as he wants, then treating them as destructible objects is not a transgression. It is consistency. This is the internal mechanics of narcissistic abuse. There is no conscious cruelty because there is no recognition that the other can suffer. There is only frustration when the object does not fulfill its function and needs to be discarded. But Bateman's narcissism does not exist in a vacuum. It is constantly fed by a culture of perpetual comparison. His obsession with business cards, with who has the most prestigious account, with which restaurant is the most exclusive, is not an individual mania. It is participation in a collective game where all players have agreed that these things determine human value. The pathological narcissist takes this logic and internalizes it completely. While others maintain some internal skepticism, some ironic distance from symbolic hierarchies, the narcissist believes them with religious fervor, because he needs to believe them. Without those external hierarchies, without those objective markers of value, he would have no way of knowing if he exists. The competition between Bateman and his colleagues is comical in its triviality, but terrifying in its intensity. They are competing over nothing, over symbols that only have meaning within their closed circle, but they do so with the seriousness of medieval warriors defending their honor. This is the nature of status in hypersymbolic societies. It is completely arbitrary and completely real in its psychological consequences. Bateman can kill without feeling remorse, but a superior business card fills him with murderous envy. The disproportion reveals the truth. He has no access to internal values that provide perspective. All he has are the values of the tribe, and those values say that the card matters. The internal void of the narcissist is not static. It expands. Every act of violence, every moral transgression, every moment where the narcissist acts without consequences deepens the disconnection. It is a degenerative process. At first, there may have been something, some emotional core, that was gradually eroded by the narcissistic defense system. But over time, the defense system consumes everything. The narcissist becomes their own predator, feeding on any remnants of humanity that may remain until only the empty structure is left. Bateman, at the point we know him, has already completed this process. There is no possible redemption, because there is nothing to redeem. The person who could have been was long ago devoured by the machine of performing normality. Schopenhauer wrote about the blind will that drives all existence, a force without purpose that simply perpetuates itself. The narcissist is will without content. It is pure impulse to exist, to be recognized, but without any reason why that existence should matter. Bateman wants to be seen as superior, as successful, as perfect, but he does not know why that would matter. He has no goal beyond the confirmation of status. There is no life project, no meaningful relationships to build, no legacy to leave. There is only the present moment of being recognized as superior, and that moment needs to be constantly recreated because it leaves no trace. Narcissistic validation is like a drug that loses effectiveness with each dose. You need more to feel the same, and eventually, no amount is enough. The narcissist's relationship with pleasure is fundamentally broken. Pleasure requires the ability to be present, to experience genuine satisfaction. But the narcissist is never present. They are always monitoring their performance, evaluating whether they are being seen correctly, adjusting their behavior to maintain the image. When Bateman has sex, he is not experiencing intimacy or physical pleasure. He is executing a script of what sex should look and feel like. He is acting even when there is no audience except for himself. This is the prison of narcissism. You can never escape the role because the role is the only thing that exists. There is no authentic self waiting backstage. The actor has completely replaced the human being that may have once existed. Bateman's violence is his only access to something resembling authenticity. When he kills, there is at least one real response. The victim truly suffers, truly dies. It is not performance. It is tangible consequence. And for a moment, Bateman feels that he has made a real impact on the world. He has changed something in an irreversible way. This is the seduction of violence for the narcissist. It is proof of agency that they exist and have power. But even this becomes empty. The murders pile up, but leave no lasting satisfaction. Each one is forgotten almost immediately, replaced by the next need, the next impulse. The narcissist cannot build on past experiences because they have no internal continuity. Each moment is isolated, disconnected from what came before. It is a fragmented existence where nothing accumulates in meaning. Modern society has created optimal conditions for the flourishing of narcissism. Social media is institutionalized narcissism. The culture of personal branding turns each individual into a product that must be constantly marketed. The attention economy rewards performance over substance. Late capitalism has learned that it is more profitable to create narcissistic consumers than satisfied consumers. The narcissist is never satisfied. They always need the next status symbol, the next product that promises to complete the image. They are the perfect consumer because their emptiness cannot be filled. It can only be monetized. Bateman is the involuntary prophet of this future that is now present. Every influencer, every entrepreneur selling a lifestyle, every individual who has learned to turn their existence into content is walking the same path. Not necessarily until murder, but towards the same psychological structure, a self that exists only in its public representation, an interior that has been emptied to make room for the brand. What is terrifying is not that there are people like Bateman. What is terrifying is that the system that produced him continues to operate, more refined, more penetrating, more successful in turning human beings into reflective surfaces without depth. Pop psychology has begun to identify narcissism, to name it, to create awareness. But identifying it is not enough if the structures that produce it remain intact. You can recognize an individual narcissist and walk away, but you cannot walk away from a whole culture that operates under narcissistic logic. We are all swimming in the same toxic broth, exposed to the same messages that human value is external and performative, that authenticity is weakness, that what matters is how you are seen, not who you are. The functional narcissist is successful precisely because they have eliminated everything that interferes with performance. They have no paralyzing doubts about their worth because their worth is not subject to internal evaluation. They have no moral conflicts that stop them because internal morality requires an internal self. They do not suffer existential crises about meaning because they have completely externalized meaning. In a system that rewards efficiency over humanity, the narcissist has a competitive advantage. They can work more hours because they have no significant personal life. They can make ruthless decisions because they do not experience empathy that holds them back. They can sell themselves with conviction because they truly believe in the product, which is themselves. And the system rewards them, promotes them, holds them up as an example. Look how successful they are. Look how confident. Look how perfectly polished. No one asks what had to be sacrificed to achieve that polish. No one sees the void because the void is designed to be invisible. Bateman has moments of breaking where the construction wobbles, where the mask feels too heavy, where the void threatens to be recognized. But these moments do not lead to growth or change. They lead to greater violence, to greater control, to intensified efforts to maintain the facade. The narcissist cannot afford vulnerability because vulnerability requires a self that can be hurt. And if you admit that you have a self that can be hurt, you have to admit that the self you have constructed is false. It is a binary choice. Maintain the construction or completely collapse. There is no middle ground. There is no gradual process of integration. And in the face of that choice, the narcissist will choose the construction every time. Because the construction, although empty, is familiar. The collapse is the true, unknown terror. The question that Patrick Bateman poses is not whether evil exists. It is whether evil can exist in the absence of interiority. Whether a completely empty human being who causes massive harm is morally responsible in the same way as someone who consciously chooses evil. Bateman does not choose. He executes. He does not decide. He reacts according to his programming. He is a biological machine that has learned to simulate humanity with technical precision, but has no access to real humanity. Judging him morally is like judging an algorithm morally. It can produce atrocious results, but there is no moral subject there. There is only process. And this is perhaps the darkest truth, that pathological narcissism can so completely eliminate human subjectivity that what remains is not a corrupt person, but an absence in human form. Living in a world that produces Batemans on an industrial scale requires recognizing that narcissism is not an individual deviation. It is systemic adaptation. It is what results when you optimize for performance while excluding everything else. When you treat empathy as a luxury, vulnerability as a weakness, authenticity as a negative asset, the system did not accidentally produce Bateman. It produced him because his psychological structure is perfectly compatible with the demands of extreme financial capitalism. And as long as that system persists, it will continue to produce variations on the same theme. Some will be literal killers. Most will be metaphorical killers, destroying lives in more subtle but no less real ways, leaving trails of psychological trauma, shattered relationships, broken subordinates, abandoned families, and all with impeccable business cards. Patrick Bateman's perfect smile is not a smile. It is a muscular spasm that has been trained to automaticity. It does not express joy because there is no joy to express. It expresses recognition that this is the moment in the social protocol where a smile is required. And that smile is more terrifying than any expression of conscious malice because it reveals the truth, that it is possible to walk through the world in human form, perform all the expected social functions, even be admired and successful, while being completely empty. The mask does not hide a monster. The mask is all there is. So the final question is not about Patrick Bateman. It's about you. How much of your identity exists only as performance? How many of your decisions are guided by how they will look versus how they will feel? When was the last time you did something without considering how it would be perceived? Is there a self beneath all your public presentations? Or have you been acting for so long that the actor has replaced the being? Is your smile expression, or is it protocol? Are your relationships genuine human exchanges, or are they strategic alliances to maintain your status network? Do you feel empathy, or have you learned to simulate it so well that you no longer know the difference? Because emptiness does not announce its arrival. It doesn't show up one day and declare that your interiority has been emptied. It's gradual. It's imperceptible. It is the natural result of 1,000 small decisions where you chose image over substance, where you sacrificed authenticity for approval, where you allowed the outside to matter more than the inside. And one day, you look in the mirror and realize that you are not checking how you look. You are checking that the facade remains intact. Because if it falls, you are not sure what you would find underneath. And that fear, that uncertainty about your own reality, is the first symptom that the mask has already started to merge with your face.